Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kim.
Hey, Dr. Larry, when you got time tomorrow, give me a call. I want to talk to you about that one grant, that technology grant.
Will do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. It seems that the closed session is going a little bit long, so we will just wait for the SAB to emerge from closed session.
Thank you.
I have none.
No, sir, we do not.
Mhm. You can barely hear you.
I can only hear you in the room.
Mhm. 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 Is your volume up? Mhm. 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 Yes. It's showing Mary, but I thought.
Use Dr. Beck with the link that I just sent you.
Okay. Let me see. What am I doing here? An email? Can you? Okay. Down here. Oh, wait a minute.
Wherever you went to the email account to get the link.
Can I go ahead? So while we're waiting, everyone should see the official results of our Proposition E up on the screen. And this is just a presentation to the SAB to acknowledge the receipt of the official results. You'll notice Riverview Gardens Proposition E, simple majority required. There were 1,232 yes votes versus 562 no votes. Yeses were at 68.67%, and the no votes were 33.33%, which successfully passed that at a supermajority. I've also included as an attachment in your board docs information what Dr. Beck, what you requested for the comparison between Proposition R and Proposition E. Keep in mind that I lined those up not by precinct per se, but the actual voting zones. So you should see that in the
take the voice down. So.
in the information that I did the separation between Prop R and Prop E. So just want to bring that to the attention of the SAB tonight and give you the opportunity to say anything you'd like to say. If not, then please accept these as official results for the Proposition E. And thanks to everyone for their hard work to make this happen.
Do we need to vote on those or just information?
No,
Okay,
it's information. It's information. Right. Dr. Spurgeon, it was interesting to see where our strength came from in voting and the areas that were not as supportive, but in the majority, great turnout, not turnout, but percentage of increase, 68.6 is phenomenal.
Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Oswald, any comments? Okay. And let me apologize to our audience. We had some technical difficulties that prevented us from starting on time. Well, the closed session prevented us from starting on time, but technical difficulties with the open session. So we're now down to our information items, library media centers, program evaluation. Ms. Ross, is that you?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon and colleagues. Tonight, we're presenting the program evaluation, and I have two of my librarians, Ms. Darcy Lesher from Glasgow and Ms. Kimberly Ney from Coke, who are doing the presentation tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darcy Lesher. I'm the Library Media Specialist at Glasgow Elementary. And as Ms. Ross said, I will be presenting along with Kim Ney from Coke Elementary. We have 12 library media centers in the district. We have Debbie Sanchez at the high school, Tammy Ray at Westview, Carla Sheely at Gibson, Shelley Hibb at Highland, Nicole Pfeiffer at Lemasters, Robin Ritchie at Meadows, Denise Miller at Central, Wayne Dura at Danforth, myself at Glasgow, Kim Ney at Coke, Patty Love at Lewis and Clark, and Michelle Williamson at Moline. Some of the changes we made from the 2019-2020 school year. First, we have MRI training for librarians to take place for all levels. We received the STL Books for Kids grant at both Glasgow and Coke Elementary. BJC Book Brigade provided books for all of our second graders. And we now have ebooks available online for all of our students and staff through MoreNet. Our goals and objectives for this school year. First, to increase circulation numbers to 225,000 books in all of our library media centers, to update the collection of all of our library media centers by at least 2 years, to increase media and digital literacy concepts that impact literacy. And we've had some very good success with our program this year. Our first success was in updating the average library collection by 2 years. The average copyright date was 2003 in February of 2020. And in April of 2021, the average copyright is now at 2005. So that is a 2-year increase. Ms. Ney is going to go over a few more numbers along with that.
I'm Kim Nay. I'm the Library Media Specialist at Koch Elementary School. The table you're looking at is a report starting from TitleWise, which is our Destiny program of February 2020 to April 2021. It shows you the average age of titles per library. And then as we weeded through the year, how many years of growth there was. Most of us had 2 years of growth. You'll see a few schools had more and a few schools had less. Some of that may be due to either increased funds or less funds. It may be due to how old the library actually was, or not being able to weed below a certain number of books per student. I do want to make a point, though, that this table does not break it down into the Dewey Decimal System by the hundreds. A library may have different levels, sections at 2011, 2013, which is much closer to being exemplary, but still have some sections that are 2003, 2004, and 2005. So these are the average of the entire contents of the library.
All right, thank you, Ms. Nay. And the rest of our successes this year pertain to getting ebooks and actual physical books into the hands of our students. And we had to rethink how we do that this year, since so many of our students were learning virtually. So we do have the ebooks now available through MoreNet, and our circulation number since we began in February was 7,046 checkouts. And we also partnered with 3 organizations this year that allowed us to give books to students to keep at home for their home libraries. So those are the Little Bit Foundation. We received 1,480 books in the fall. We still have more to receive this spring. From BJC Books, we received 521 books for our second graders. And then the STL Books for Kids grant, Koch received 739 books, and Glasgow received 1,140 books. And here you can see some pictures of our library project this year, our biggest project, which was updating those collections and those copyright years. Our students and teachers this year have started using the Sora app to check out ebooks. We started with access to 5,000 books from MoreNet, and we recently partnered with St. Louis County Library, which gave our students 27,000 more books that they now have access to checking out. World Book Online is a website that our students use for research and learning about different topics. You can see the top right graphic shows our estimated hits throughout the last year, a little low at the end of the school year last year, but then increasing this school year. And the bottom chart shows different hits and searches by month and for 12 months total. So you can see we had a total number of hits for the last year of 172,880. Tools that we use to evaluate the success of our libraries include Destiny Manager. This gives us our circulation numbers for the number of books we've checked out. World Book Online tracks uses of the World Book site. Library Media Center teacher collaboration documents. As librarians, we document every time we meet with teachers and collaborate about lessons and things they need for the classroom. The title-wise analysis tells us the average date of our collections, and Overdrive Marketplace data tells us how many ebooks have been checked out. All right, our next steps for the next school year: MRI and media literacy training for all of our librarians. We're going to continue to weed out our old, outdated books and update our libraries with newer books, increase our ebook collection. And finally, we want to enhance our libraries by making them maker spaces and media centers. And we will be getting, each library will be getting 5 to 10 desktops and 25 Chromebooks with charging stations for next year. So that does conclude our presentation. Ms. Ney does have one more bit of information to share with us.
So we did want to acknowledge that this year we will be losing retire. Ms. Debbie Sanchez from the high school will be retiring and moving on to another state for her great retirement with her family. She has taught in Riverview for 10 years, with 6 of them being at the library at the high school. Ms. Williamson from Moline has been in education for 37 years, and 11 of those years have been at the library at Moline. So we wish them good luck and joy in the next chapter of their life.
Questions or comments, Ms. Oswald,
No questions.
Ms. Morrow Real?
As an avid reader, I just want to thank you all for tapping into resources that can assist our children with books that they can keep at home, you know, and put into their personal library. I just want to thank you all for doing that.
My love for reading started at the Sherman Park Library in the city of St. Louis, and went forward from there. So I'm deeply indebted to librarians, okay? As you know, I now serve as president of the board of directors of the St. Louis County Library District, and I was glad to see the collaboration there. But I want to commend all of our librarians, library specialists, for the work you do for our children. I know this year was a very challenging year with virtual learning, but I'm so appreciative of all the librarians. What was your biggest challenge this year?
I think talking with most of our librarians, our biggest challenge was more for the lower grades virtually, being able to get them to navigate, because they don't know how to toggle yet back between what they should be trying to do. That's where we've also had the hardest thing about connecting them to the St. Louis County Library. So I made a video for the parents and we sent that out so most of them could connect then that MoreNet and get them set up on their Chrome.
Ms. Lesser, you want to cut in?
Yes, a challenge that I had this year was getting books for our little ones, kindergarten, first grade, at their level, you know, because whenever we're in person, we can really help them get those books on their level. So this year was a little bit challenging. So we had to use some of those donated books that we got and kind of pick and choose the ones that would be appropriate for our K and first grade learners. But I think we did the best we could with what we had.
Sure. Thank you for your service. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beckwith.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Health Services Program Evaluation. Dr. Patton, are you introducing or what?
Yes, sir, I am. Good
Okay.
evening, SAB, board members. I'm sorry, good evening, SAB.
Long day.
Right, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues and community. We have a new lead nurse who will be will be presenting our program evaluation for the nurses. She is quite nervous, but she will do a great job. So I will introduce Miss Diana Mitchell. Miss Mitchell, Nurse Mitchell, unmute yourself. And I have the presentation ready for you. So you can begin.
Okay. Good evening, SAB board and Dr. Spurgeon's colleagues and stakeholders. I am Diana Mitchell, and I am part of the change for health services. I am the new lead nurse for the district. I was hired in February 2021. And so the changes we made were to reflect the support, to support the COVID pandemic. And we had to hire we did hire two contact tracing nurse specialists to help with help keep the employees safe and the students safe, so that we can the ones that were sick wouldn't be at school spreading and transmitting and causing everyone else to be sick. We also had 6 vacancies in our nurses' offices, and so we now have them filled with the supplemental health care nurses, and they're doing an awesome job. We also changed. We had wanted to have the assistant health aide, but we decided that we needed an LPN instead. We needed a nurse that could do more. She can work independently on her own. She could do treatments. She could do medication. She could do everything that needed. Evaluate the student, refer the student, everything. And so we chose to have the LPN at the high school instead of the assistant health aide. Next. So goals and objectives. So we employed the school safety measures to decrease the transmission of COVID. Different measures that we did were we enforced the masks. We have the students, everybody have to wear masks. We followed the guidelines that we got from the CDC and the St. Louis Department of Health. They help us come up with safety measures to help decrease the transmission of COVID among the employees and the students. We also provided the vaccination clinic for the employees. We did that. We actually were invited. So we went to Jennings School District. Our employees were able to go to Jennings School District to get the vaccination for COVID. And we had over 130 employees vaccinated that day on March the 19th. We also we collaborated with STL to set up testing sites for our employees, with COVID testing sites for our employees, for the students and the community. And we had it set up at 3 different locations. And the turnout was okay. We had at least 20 people to utilize the services. We also had the back to school COVID-19 plan that we had for the scholars and employees that embedded with the return to school plan. And everyone had the plan, everybody had the opportunity to get the plan. And then we just had to execute the plan to make sure everybody was trying to follow the plan that we had. Normally we do use a 6K to establish our data for health services and report, and we use the data from school-based health community center to help us with our data. But because of, due to the virtual learning, we use mostly this consent forms. We use consent forms for the immunizations. We use consent forms for when we did the everything we did COVID. We basically counted the consent forms to come up with our numbers.
Okay.
So the successes of the program. We for the employees who did the COVID testing on campus, we did have at least 20 people, like I said, to participate in that program. And for the people, the staff, the employees who went over to Jennings, we had over 137 employees to get the vaccination for COVID. So that was pretty good. We for our immunizations, because we want to have more students be compliant, we collaborated with CurSTL to do a immunization clinic, and we did it in 3 different sites on campus. We initially targeted the first 2 to target. What the target was the 7th and 8th graders. So we did have 19 of the scholars that turned in their consent forms that we were able to get immunizations, the required school immunizations. We will have one more clinic on May the 11th, and we're hoping that we will have a better turnout. With that clinic, we will include all the elementary, the middle school, and the high school students. And I know for sure that Ms. Jasmine, she was saying that she's already getting students coming in on Tuesdays, because the clinic is open on Tuesdays, every Tuesday from 7:30 to 4:30. And so she's already have students coming in, getting immunizations that she's setting appointments for. So I think we're moving in the right direction in that. We also, even though we're in a pandemic, we still were able to get one of the vendors, one of the healthcare agencies to come into our school setting. So they were able to come in and do vision screenings and exams for our students. And they basically were able to do all of our schools. But they have seen at least 135 of our students, and they still have a few more days to see students. They will be done on the 6th of May. Okay, opportunities and next steps. So what we want to do is, and I was talking to Jasmine, she's the director at the School Basic Health Center at the high school. And we want to try to increase our compliance with our immunization. So we were wanting to collaborate together to develop a clinic this summer. We want to do one this summer. We want to try to at least have a clinic in the fall, at least get a total of 3 clinics in a school year. And hopefully with that being done, our compliance will increase, hopefully a lot. I know I'm very happy about the expansion that will start this summer for the school-based health center. So I'm happy about that. And also we're also going to sponsor CurSTL. They're working with us. We're going to also sponsor our own vaccine clinic, and it's going to be April the 30th at the high school and May the 28th at Westview. And we're hoping that our employees could, sign up so they can, if they choose to be vaccinated on site, on the campus site, at our campus site. We want to reconnect with our partnership with the community healthcare resources like Gateway Dental, Kids Vision for Life, BJC Healthy Kids Express, especially, all of them. They're all great. They all service our students. It helps keep the students at school while they can still get some of the services that parents will pull them out of school to get. So I think that's great. We're going to definitely reconnect with them. I'm already getting phone calls. They're already trying to reach me to see when they can, when we can continue on. So I'm excited about that too. So as COVID decreases, we're reestablishing our partnerships with different community health resources. We're hoping that we know that the attendance will increase. Any questions?
Ms. Mario?
Yes, I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask. I did hear you say that you're going to have your own COVID clinic here.
Ms. Morrill, we can't hear you.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So my first question is, did I hear you say that you're going to have a COVID clinic on April the 30th?
Yes, that is correct. That's
Okay.
this Friday.
Okay.
At the high school.
Okay, good. The other question that I had was that I had heard that now it's been approved that 16-year-olds and up can get COVID. Have you all done any planning with regards to being able to now give the COVID shot to students?
Ms. Morrill, let me address that question.
Okay.
we are hosting a vaccination clinic for our employees on Friday, and then on May the 28th will be the second shot. They are bringing over 300 vaccinations. So I've spoken with Dr. Spurgeon today. If our employees are not in line to get those shots, I would like to open it up to the community. And so we will be focusing on the RGSD community to get them vaccinated as well.
Okay, what about the students?
I haven't discussed the students with Dr. Spurgeon yet.
Okay.
I just want to, that information just came out, I believe, this past weekend.
This past weekend, yes.
Right. And so I want to make sure that we cover all of our bases and we know all the ins and out of the liability as we begin to vaccinate 16-year-olds.
And my final question is, I know that a lot of people went and got the shot at various locations. Are we tracking the number of our employees? I know you all said that approximately 130 into 137 went to Jennings, but are we tracking or information to find out how many of our employees have actually already had the COVID shot?
Because of HIPAA laws, we are not able to ask them that particular question, Ms.
Okay.
Memorial. However, we were able to track the ones that went over to Jennings with us because we registered and I knew how many was coming.
Okay.
We're able to track the ones that will be vaccinated on Friday and next month as well. But those that have gone out on their own and got vaccinated, we don't have numbers because due to HIPAA laws, we are unable to ask them that particular question.
Thank you. I understand.
Ms. Oswald? Okay. Nurse Mitchell,
Yes.
have you settled down yet?
Yes.
Okay. I know you just came on in February, but what's been your biggest challenge being the lead nurse since February?
A lot to learn. A lot to learn. And it's just, that's it. It's just a lot to learn and want to learn it and do it well.
And let me say this, Dr. Beckwith, if I can step in, Nurse Mitchell has been in our district for 19, 20 years. She has been quite comfortable, as I told her, standing in the background. And I'm trying to bring her out front and build her confidence. She will continue to do a great job. As I told her, I will not let you fail. But in order to be comfortable presenting, you have to start presenting. So she will be fine. She was quite nervous, as you can tell, but congratulations, Nurse Mitchell. You have your first presentation under your belt.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
And you did fine for the first time out.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next agenda item, program evaluation for guidance, social work, and programs for at-risk students.
Yes, sir, Dr. Spurgeon, or Dr. Beckwith, that is me again. So hello again, SAB, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues and community. I will present to you Ms. Deirdre Liddell. She is our new district interventionist, and she will give her presentation on how we have been addressing our students from a social emotional perspective, as well as ensuring they had the what they needed. So Deirdre Liddell.
Okay, would you like to do my presentation? Okay.
Yes, you can go ahead and share.
Can you pull mine up, Dr. Patton?
Yes, I can. Just one second. Oh, no. Oh, Shay, I had it, but okay. Okay, there we go. Oh, Shay, you took it down? Okay, I'm sorry. I'll pull it back up. Can you see that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues, and school community. My name is Deirdre Liddell. I'm the new District Intervention Coordinator. I am previously worked at the high school for 11 years as a school counselor, and I've been in the district for 15 years. This evening, I present to you the program evaluation for professional school counselors and school social workers. The changes made to our program are staffing changes, so new district intervention coordinator. Also, we have a new counselor hired at Central Middle School. This is an additional counselor, so we now have 3 counselors there. So our new counselors, so our 2 new counselors, one for Central Middle, then we have one at Moline and one social worker that is divided between Central Middle and Westfield. Another change we made is we've shifted our focus to make sure that all of our scholars and our families are supported during the pandemic. We're also reestablishing our I-team process and building stronger structures for our I-team process district-wide with the return of our scholars. So our goals for our team is to remove barriers to learning through tiered interventions, guidance curriculum resources, and other supports. We partner with outside agencies to make sure that we have wraparound services in an effort to achieve academic, social, and emotional growth for all of our scholars here at the school district. We also address the academic achievement by focusing on our students, our scholars' individual schedules through our ICAP, and that is our individual career and academic planning. We want to make sure that we are achieving academic growth and assisting them with their post-secondary endeavors. We make sure we accommodate the high demands of our families needing a lot of resources. So it's a broad spectrum of resources that our families and our scholars need. And we want to recognize the additional challenges for social and emotional support through therapeutic resources and support. So the way that we evaluated this is through Tyler Sys, our I-team process, our district partners, and counselors and social workers have a spreadsheet. So with the onset of COVID-19, a lot has changed, and we had to pivot and shift our focus. So, you know, our last program evaluation was the 18-19 school year. 19-20 came, and our lives pretty much changed as we knew it. So we had to make sure that we changed with the world. So we have, so in regards to our testing requests, we've had only 1 testing request at the high school level. We've had 1 testing request at the middle school level, and then we've had 66 testing requests for the 66 testing requests at the elementary school level. We've also have our attendance interventions. So we've shifted to do attendance interventions because for the majority of the school year, we were virtual. So with that, sometimes it was hard to find some of our scholars. So we had to make sure that we were putting forth that extra effort to make sure that we were able to find them, to make sure that they were logging in and being educated. So at the high school, we have 548 attendance intervention meetings, the middle school 333, and the elementary school, which the majority of our scholars came because they're younger. We have 109. We've also shifted our focus for academic interventions at the secondary level. So we've had 320 at the high school level, 67 at the middle school level, and 0 at the elementary level due to the elementary level performing more of their I-teams because their scholars have been logging on and their attendance rate has been better. So in regards to our resources, in regards to our program, we have given out an abundance of resources to our school community, from housing and utility resources to food distribution, clothing resources, and unfortunately funeral resources. We've also given a lot of other resources that include our health, medical, mental health services for our parents. We've given out diapers for our families and also for our students also for our students participating in our in the PAT, Parents as Teachers program, holiday assistance, and school supplies. So I'm really excited to present to you all our next steps and our opportunities. So starting pretty much now into the summer, we are going to transform Riverview Gardens into a 100% trauma-informed school district. We are going to begin this training this summer. We've already been in the talks with different programs to make sure that we're going to launch and roll the program out in the way that's needed for us to be 100% trauma informed. We're going to continue our therapeutic services throughout the summer through our partners, through Children's Service Fund, CARE STL, even Youth in Need. We also want to utilize our ESSER II funds in order to make sure that we have counselors still available throughout the summer for resources, for not only resources at the elementary, high school, and middle level, but also to make sure that we are providing a guidance curriculum for our social and emotional development of our scholars. So our 2020-21-22 school year, we want to make sure that we train all of our scholars in conflict resolution. This will help decrease our suspension rate and hopefully increase our attendance rate. We want to establish year-long PD and make sure that we embed our trauma-informed learning throughout our entire school community. We want to expand our partnership with our Workforce Centers of America. They provide job training, not only for scholars, but for parents. And they also have a program, a GED program for parents. So we want to make sure that we are including our parents within our school community and helping to grow our community as a whole. We're going to build partnerships with the Missouri Chamber of Commerce to create additional, to make sure we secure additional resources and for our scholars that are graduating and going off into their post-secondary endeavors. And we're also strengthening our tier 2 and tier 3 interventions for our I-Team program. And then also we have a goal to hire 2 behavior therapists to provide ongoing PD in the classroom, as well as helping with the 1-year focus of our big focus for trauma-informed care for our first year rollout. Any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
Ms. Oswald, we can't hear you.
Right. Are you unmuted? Let's do this. Go to Ms. Maureen and we'll come back.
I just wanted to ask, as far as the intervention, I never hear the parents serving on any committees that would help with students that are going through any type of intervention. Do parents play a major role in this as well?
Yes, when we have our I-Teams or our intervention teams, our parents are a big role in our intervention teams.
Good, okay.
They give us the information for the scholar, preliminary information, as well as they are invited and they attend the meetings.
And what about for conflict resolution? Are they a part of that plan as well?
Our conflict resolution plan, we're still developing it, but that is a great idea. They will be involved.
Yeah, I know a long time ago, it used to be, situations happen, parents had to come to the school to address it. So I was just curious.
Ms. Morrill, when you look at our suspension rate, a great many of our suspension is occurring because of fighting. And so we have to take a real hard look at putting interventions in place to address conflict
exactly
for our students. So that's going to be a big goal of ours as we move into the 2021 school year. Right along with trauma-informed practices. So we'll be training our teachers, our buildings, the SAB principals, everybody on trauma-informed practices, as well as working with our scholars on how to engage in conflict in a more productive manner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you on now, Ms. Oswald?
Yes,
Okay. You have a question?
I just had two comments
Okay.
regarding the additional involvement of parents and the conflict resolution being introduced. That's all.
Yeah, we will be taking care of both of those as we move into the 2021-22 school year, Ms. Oswald.
Ms. Liddell, concerning counseling, do you know what the maximum DESE caseload is for counselors?
It is around 300 scholars.
Okay, and how do we compare at our middle and high school with that?
It fluctuates it fluctuates from year to year. At our high school, we are serving at the number that we should be at. We're pretty much at capacity from year to year. This school year, our numbers are a little bit lower than it has been in the past. So we're definitely okay at the high school. At the middle school level, we've definitely made that change to make sure that we are that we are at the number that DESE serves. And that's why we added that additional counselor at Central Middle School, because Central Middle School has roughly 184 more scholars than Westview Middle School. And and the way we fixed it at the elementary school level is Gibson has the highest number of scholars and Lewis and Clark has the lowest number of scholars. So the counselor at Lewis and Clark has traveled between Lewis and Clark and Gibson Elementary.
Very good answer. I appreciate that. The summer programs appear to be an excellent one, but remind me of what you're going to do in the summer, what your division is going to do in the summer.
So for the summer programs, we'll have guidance lessons throughout the summer on social emotional behavior. And then also we'll be there to make sure that resources still continue for our families throughout the district.
Right, and Dr. Beckwith, I'll jump in on that. One of the things that we have consistently received phone calls about was the emotional, social well-being of our students being in virtual learning. And so we are trying to address that this summer by offering supports for them this summer while they're at school, and even those that are at home and not in summer school. We want to make sure that we keep them connected and we try to pull them back into our school system. And hopefully, as we roll into the 21-22 school year, their parents will select in-person instruction over virtual.
Okay. It would appear to me that what you're doing this summer could possibly be charged to ESSER funds.
Absolutely, it's on the list for ESSER funds. The spreadsheet that the CFO Singleton provided, it's on that spreadsheet to be charged to ESSER funds.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you, Ms. Liddell, for your presentation.
Thank you.
We've got Dr. Larry next on E-rate funding update. Dr. Larry, what do you bring us?
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon and colleagues. The Technology MIS Department is pleased to inform the district that our E-rate funding request was approved in the first wave of submissions. At this point, we have received $242,356. Of that amount, $180,306 is committed for internet and wide area network funding, and $62,050 is committed to cable maintenance. Now, just to make Dr. Singleton aware, this $242,356 will not be received until July 1. It is just an informational item, and I want you to be aware of it. Are there any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
No questions.
Ms. Mauriel? Dr. Larry, is this what we asked for, requested, or this is just a portion of what we requested?
This is what we asked for. Yes,
Well done. Continue your job in bringing us money.
will do.
All right, we're down to our discussion items, lawn care and grounds maintenance. Ms. Green? Who? Okay, well, whoever.
Good evening. I would like to do my Prop R update.
Oh, you're right. That's what Shay was trying to tell me. And I had already circled it. So.
Okay. Well, I was having some technical difficulties, so Ishmael's going to help me with the PowerPoint. So Ishmael, can we go down? Okay, so as you know, every second board meeting of the month, I provide the Prop R update. And so far we have a list of our completed projects. And some of those include the rooftop, flooring, parking lots. You can keep going. You can keep going. Fire alarm phase 1, upgrades, district wireless, roof. Keep going. Playgrounds. You can keep going. So right now, current active projects is the rooftop unit phase 2. We're about 98% complete. We're waiting on, we had to wait for cooling season to check out and commission the AC parts of the rooftop units. We did the heating. So now, since we've turned on air conditioning, we're waiting to get those inspected by the county. So you go to the next one. So right now we're in the process of doing our district-wide HVAC control upgrades. So far, next board meeting, I would like to present the rebates that we have gotten from Ameren. We are starting to receive some incentives and rebates from Ameren because we're doing this upgrade project. So hopefully next board report, we'll see some of those. You'll get a chance to see what we've received thus far. Let me go to the next one. So some of our upcoming projects is right now we do have an RFP posted. We're having a bid opening May the 11th for the district-wide security camera upgrades. We're looking to do the school-based health center, which I will talk about later on in this meeting. We can go to the next one. So this is just a chart to show what we've completed, what we promised the constituents that we would do at Prop R. So this shows those things that are completed, those things that are upcoming, and so forth. We can go to the next page. So summary to date, we have 25 projects that have been board approved. 23 of them have been completed. We have 2 ongoing. Our MBE total is 33%. Our WBE total to date is 7%. We can go to the next one. I think that concludes that update. Ishmael, can you bring up the budget piece? Okay, Dr. Singleton.
All right, thanks, Ms. Green. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon, community, and colleagues. Tonight, I will just give a brief summary of the Prop R budget, where we are at this particular time. Yeah, can you? Okay, that seems to be good enough. The way the report is kind of hard to read, so let me just make sure that that we're all on the same page. At the very top, we have the program-wide cost, which is a positive $90,000. that pretty much looks at both the construction and soft costs. So you'll see the variance between those two. So I'm looking at the green column at the very end. So under the construction costs, we show a negative $1.7 million. And as you will see, a lot of this, what's driving the negative number are projects that were not included in the original budget. They were, one of the big items down here is the roofs. And these are the high school roofs on 2 and 9, buildings 2 and 9, and also there's a proposal for 2 additional roofs at Central Middle and LeMasters. And so we are spending quite a bit of time and attention in evaluating the roofs and making sure that that they are getting the attention that's necessary. As well, there's also the school-based health center that Ms. Green just mentioned that's coming out of here. If you go down a little bit under emergency repairs, Ishmael, you will see that there's a line item for about $500,000. That $500,000 in purple is geared towards the school-based health center as well. So that's also driving that negative number. So we show that the construction costs overall show a $1.7 million negative number, but the soft costs have a positive impact. So that's the positive 1.799254 number there. And so the result is obviously Prop R is still showing that we are coming under budget in the overall cost. So I just wanted to make sure that we had a clear understanding. I know when we see negative numbers or parentheses, it certainly causes for questions. And so that's really the information we wanted to share with you tonight, a brief summary. Are there any questions that I or Ms. Green may be able to answer?
Ms. Mario? Ms. Oswald?
I have no questions either. I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. Dr. Singleton, things have gone extremely well with the spending R funds, and I'm very pleased with that, as well as the minority participation on both sides, the women and the minority side. Overall, how much money do we have left in Prop R? I may have missed that.
So, Ms. Green, well, you can chime in as well, but Dr. Beckwith, if my math is right, now we're still closing out projects. So what I'm seeing here is that roughly we're about $90,000 under budget for Prop R. Ms. Green, am I correct with that?
Yes, sir.
Right. Said another way, when we finish all of our projects, will we at least break even?
Yes. And hopefully we will come under budget. We have had a history of no change orders. We'll knock on wood and hope that continues. But at this point, we're moving towards coming under budget, or at the very least breaking even.
That's very impressive, not having any change orders over the time of the project. As I was reading about ESSER, it mentioned funds could be spent to improve ventilation in the schools. Have we given any thought to that?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Ms. Green.
Yes, sir. Right now, tomorrow I should get a full quote on, I check, I think Parkway, Hazelwood are doing some of the same things that I'm looking for. So tomorrow I should get a full report and quotes on what it would cost to do some air purification in all of our schools and all of our classrooms.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. No other questions. Now we're down to our discussion items, lawn care and ground maintenance.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues, and community. As you know, we've completed our first year contract along with our 3 additional renewals with our current ground maintenance group. So I had to be in compliance P, and we received 3 sealed bids for lawn care just this past few weeks ago. So with that, the lowest bid was our current lawn care company, SS Nielsen Land Service contractor. So the cost to what we did some more improvements, and we also added a piece of land that was not in our first contract over on Chambers. So we've weekly mowing, fall and spring cleanup, lawn fertilization, hard surface, and tree pruning as necessary for a cost not to exceed $138,345, which will come out of our the facility's general operating budget. So it is my recommendation to get a contract with SS Nelson Land Service for the next board meeting, asking you all to approve their a contract with them for a cost not to exceed $138,345. Are there any questions?
Ms. Mario?
I have no questions.
Ms. Oswald?
Yes, can we add cleaning debris before we cut the grass as opposed to cutting over it and spreading it?
Well, that is what they're supposed to do. I know last year we had some concerns of that, and I shared that with them, and it seemed to have gotten better. I'm not sure. Are you seeing any areas that they really need to concentrate on?
Yes, central middle.
Okay.
Ms. Gordon, that little piece of land that added, is that the piece of land that is across from where East Junior High used to be?
No, sir, that's further down off of Chambers, right? I guess east of Lilac, between 2 houses, there's a strip of land.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got it.
Yes,
okay. I have no other questions. Thank you. ESS contract renewal, is that Ms. Williams-Woods?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Dr. Beckwith, Ms. Moore-Real, Ms. Oswald, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues, and community. Tonight, I will be presenting the contract renewal for discussion for ESS. ESS is a substitute staffing company that we contract with, and the estimated cost for next school year will be $1,435,506. The addendum to the contract has been reviewed by our legal team and approved. It is recommended that the Special Administrative Board approve the addendum to substitute staff placement agreement dated June 24, 2020 with ESS for staffing needs for teacher vacancies and substitute coverage in the amount of $1,435,506. Are there any questions?
Ms. Mar-Real?
I have no questions.
Ms. Oswald?
No question.
Ms. Williams-Woods, to what degree were you satisfied with the services of ESS this year?
So, Dr. Beckwith, in all honesty, I felt it was difficult to judge considering we were in a pandemic. I do think that they were able to fulfill our needs in terms of long-term substitute teacher staffing. However, not so much with the day-to-day staffing, but we know that in the pandemic, that has been a challenge all across the nation with people just not wanting to be in classrooms with students. So I'm looking forward to the pandemic ending so that way I can, I guess, make a better assessment of the services that they provide for us.
I accept that answer. Thank you. Personnel file audit project, is that you also?
Yes, sir. Tonight I will be presenting an item for discussion of personnel file audit project, and the purpose of this is there have been a number of repeat audit findings for incomplete personnel files and I-9s. It started back in 2008 and then it rose to the level of an audit finding in 2014, 2015, 2019, and 2020. And the personnel files have to be complete to be in compliance with board policy and also laws regarding personnel files. So I have reached out to 4 different vendors for quotes: Ultimate Staffing Services, TRC Staffing, Snelling Staffing Services, and also K-Force, and the rates are there. K-Force is not the lowest quote for this project. However, they are the preferred vendor for the personnel file audit project because they have provided quality temporary staffing to the district in the past. It is estimated that the project will take 6 weeks to complete, beginning late May should the SAB approve it, and not to exceed $7,500 to be paid from the Human Resources budget. It is recommended that the Special Administrative Board approve the Human Resources Department to utilize a temporary file clerk from K-Force, temporary staffing agency, to audit and complete the project should take approximately 6 weeks to complete, and this project is not to exceed $7,500.
Okay, thank you.
I think this is a good idea, Ms. Williams-Woods, especially since we have been cited for incomplete personnel files for a number of years. Thank you. School-based health center.
Good evening again. I come before you to talk about the school-based health center. On April 23rd, 2019, the SAB approved funding of $250,000 out of the Prop R budget for the construction of the school-based health center. And the additional funding was going to be provided by Christian Hospital Foundation. But however, the foundation was not able to fulfill their commitment. And so the district agreed to fund the remaining construction cost through BJC, who is going to have a contract with Rhodey Construction for a cost of, well, their bid was $421,789. And so with the 10% contingency, the total cost came up to $463,968. However, I did ask Dr. Singleton, can we look into exploring some options of using the ESSER 2 funds, see if it's allowable to either pay the money back to the Prop R fund, or if we can use the ESSER 2 funds to complete the school-based health center for a cost not to exceed $460,968. So I'm recommending that the SAB approve on May the 11th, us using Prop R funds at a cost not to exceed $463,968. And again, Dr. Singleton and I are exploring the use of ESSER 2 funds to see if we can pay back Prop R. Are there any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
When will we be able to get that additional information?
Dr. Singleton, can you help me out on that?
Yeah. So we actually just met here this evening, and when we talked about this item, because of some of the services that will be happening with the school-based health center, it is very much something that we want to see if ESSER funds are allowed. So if we will know prior to the next SAB meeting, before it's approved, whether or not we will be able to explore some kind of reimbursement.
Ms. Morrow-Real?
I have no questions.
Okay. Dr. Singleton, I think I read in ESSER where a special permission had to be received for construction costs. But it would appear to me, since part of this is a health center, that it would be connected in some way with COVID. So at least we can try.
Sure, sure. And that's what we want to do. We really want to just do the research. And if we're allowed to be reimbursed the monies, then we're going to go for it. So.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions. LeMaster Roof Repairs.
Good evening again. So, there's about 10 different roof levels on LeMaster's. And so we have several of those roofs that are in poor condition or near failing condition. So I'm asking, I did put on an RFP for replacing several parts of the roof. And so the lowest bid was Jim Taylor Roofing at a cost of their total bid was $256,323. They are 100% WBE. And so I'm asking the board to approve roof repairs at LeMaster's at a cost not to exceed $281,955, which contains a 10% contingency of $25,000, $632. Are there any questions?
Ms. Maureen?
No question.
Ms. Oswald?
No questions.
The funding source for this is?
Oh, I'm sorry. The funding source is Prop R.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you. Central Middle School roof repairs.
Okay, basically the same thing there. Several sections of the roof at Central Middle School are in poor condition, near failing. So we did do an RFP, and the lowest responsive bidder was Herbert Company at a cost. Their total bid was $404,141,000. Asking this project to be funded through Prop R at a cost not to exceed $444,752, which contains a 10% contingency of $40,432. Asking the board to approve at the May the 11th board meeting a contract with Herbert Company to do sections 1, 2, and section 7A and 12 at Central Middle School at a cost not to exceed $444,752. Are there any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
No questions.
Ms. Maureen?
Questions.
Am I to understand, Ms. Green, that both of these projects can be paid out of Prop R and still have money left to do the few remaining things that we promised to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No other questions? Policy recommendation?
Yes, hello, this is Patricia Lehman, and good evening, SAB members, Dr. Spurgeon and colleagues. I'm here to present the following policies for recommendation, actually for discussion, I apologize. So the first policy is policy DC, taxing and borrowing authority and limitations, submitted by Dr. Singleton. Basically, the MSBA revised this policy to simplify bonded indebtedness. And basically, it removes all the legal language from the policy because the district already seeks legal counsel for their policies anyway. In addition, it also is revising it so that the board has the ability to participate in capital programs, and they can lease purchase option. So if a purchase goes into, they can lease an asset at the end of the lease period if it is below market value. The next policy, policy DJF purchasing, submitted by Dr. Singleton. The MSBA has made several changes. Basically, unless an emergency provision is made, no purchases are to be made without prior board approval. Purchases of $3,500 to $50,000 require 3 quotes. Anything over $50,000 requires sealed bids. And then the final policy for discussion was submitted by Ms. Monica Williams-Woods, the IC academic calendar. Basically, the revisions for the calendar: school districts may not schedule the first day of school more than 14 days prior to the first Monday in September. There must be a minimum of 1,044 hours of student attendance. And then the days can only be counted if a teacher is engaged in teaching the students. And there also has to be 36 makeup hours for possible loss of attendance due to inclement weather. And then the superintendent has the final say on closing the building due to emergency or inclement weather. Are there any questions this evening?
Ms. Real,
I have no question.
Ms. Oswald,
No questions.
I have no questions. Thank you, Patty.
Thank
Our Riverview Gardens High School Virtual Summer Learning Academy.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon, district leaders, school and community colleagues. My name is Travis Ford, Assistant Principal at Riverview Gardens High School. Tonight I come before you to discuss the 2021 Riverview Gardens High School Virtual Summer Academy. This Virtual Summer Academy and academic program is proposing the opportunity for teachers to provide skills, strategies, and critical thinking support to 9th and 10th grade scholars scoring below basic in reading and in math. The review of the data for our 9th and 10th grade scholars at the high school showed that the scholars who were below basic in reading and in math ultimately did not earn, many of them ultimately did not earn a credit in Algebra 1, Geometry, and or English 1 or 2. The high school leadership team learned from a data analysis of the fall semester credits earned, as well as the most recent spring Renaissance Star assessment data, that the average grade equivalency of our scholars are 1 or more grade levels below in math and 2 or more grade levels below in reading. This academy is an addition to the summer credit recovery program at ACE and will focus on the specific needs of 9th and 10th grade scholars, while ACE will focus on our seniors who need to earn credits for graduation and the juniors who are credit deficient. The summer academy will run for 3 weeks, starting June 11th through June 30th, 2021. It'll be from Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The program will be federally funded through ESSER funds with a budget total not to exceed $40,000. The Riverview Gardens High School administrative team believes that this program will serve as an essential component in improving academic success, supporting graduation, matriculation, and the overall culture of the school. It is our recommendation that the Special Administrative Board approves the Riverview Gardens High School Summer Academy for the summer of 2021. Are there any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
No question.
Ms. Real?
I have no questions.
Mr. Ford, I think this is an excellent idea.
Thank you.
I'm pleased that the high school is pursuing it,
Thank
especially
you.
with all the time lost to COVID-19.
Yes.
And our last discussion item, summary of fund balance report, Dr. Singleton.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board. Again, tonight I will present information on the summary of fund balance report. This is for the 9 months ending March 31st, 2021. So we are about 3/4 of the way done, and the numbers reflect very similarly. So as you will see in the first page, the summary of the fund balances, those 5 funds that we so infamously have or we operate from. We started with $14 million fund balance. The year-to-date revenues and expenditures kind of balance out, right about $42 million each. And our ending fund balance is right about $14 million. So we've got about 3 months left in the fiscal year, April, May, and June. And we're expecting roughly our $58 million budget to be expended. And so here's the evidence here for the 9 months ending March 31st. Next page. The next page are the grant expenditures. Of that $42 million that you see, a significant portion of it falls under federal grants. We've got title grants, and also we've had some CARES Act reimbursements all through this fiscal year through March 31st. So we'll see those budgets. The actual expenditures of about $6.3 million and roughly $3.9 million remaining in those available budget items. Next page. If we look at the grant revenues, the same information here. We've got our title grants, we've got our CARES grants, we've got the budgets that were presented, and the receipts of about almost $3.5 million, and we still got about $4.5 million to collect. So quite a bit of monies that we have to collect and bring in our coffers for before the end of the fiscal year on June 30th. The next page, please. This information here shows you the revenue receipts through March 31st over each of the funds that we have. So if we look at the general fund, the teachers fund, the debt services, capital projects, we see where we have our original budgets and any revisions that we've made, also the actuals, and then what's outstanding here. And so these numbers here coincide with the 42 million that's on the front page. If you look at the very bottom, can you go down, scroll down just a little for me? The very bottom has the report totals, that 57 million, the 63 million in revised budgets, but there's that $42 million again, that's really just broken out into more detail. That's on that first page, that 42,600,000 in receipts we talked about. If you flip the page, the next page, page 6, also looks at those same expenditures. Remember on the very first cover, we talked about $42 million in receipts, also $42 million in expenditures. And these are the various funds, the general fund, for instance, the teachers fund, the debt service, that's where those monies went. Okay, so this, if you go down to the very bottom of this page, you will see those same original budgets, the revised budgets, and also the actual expenditures, that same $42 million again that appears on the expenditure side. So this just gives you more detail than what the summary page gave you, the very first page. The last 2 pages here, I think the last 2 pages are the revenue and expenditure comparisons for the same time frame in previous years. And so if we look at the general fund revenue, for instance, in 2019, around this time frame, we had received about $22 million in revenues in the general fund. If you go to the next year, 2020, we received about roughly 21.5 million. So kind of about the same. And this year, right now, we're about 20.4 million, kind of roughly the same as well. So again, this is just a comparison year over the year. Where were you in 2009 this time, 2020, and 2021? So if you go to the bottom, it says report total. We can see the overall impact of where we were. So 2019, $48 million. Of course, 2020 this time, we had about $53 million. And I think the biggest difference here, I think in 2020, we had some bond proceeds come in. And so that's probably why you see the big jump there in 2020. And then, of course, a very typical year for us in revenues right now at that $42 million that we talked about. And on the very last page, if you'll go straight to the bottom, the same thing exists where we were in expenditure-wise for this time frame. In 2019, we had expended about $44.5 million. In 2020, go down just a little bit more for me, please. In 2020, we had expended about $46.5 million. And right now we're on schedule to have expended about $42.8 million. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
No question.
Ms. Mario?
I have no questions.
Dr. Singleton, I think I read where the governor rescinded the cuts to elementary and secondary education. Do you know how that will impact us in additional revenue?
Dr. Beckwith, let me research that. I know that there have been talks about that. And my understanding was that they were going to catch us up, if you will, through our state aid payments. So we have been receiving prorated payments all throughout the year. And my understanding was they were supposed to increase those payments by the end of the year to balance you out to what you were supposed to get all along. But before I give you a really formal answer, let me research that and get that back to you, okay?
That will be fine. Thank you for your report. We're now down to our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. We're ready for the question. Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion passes. We have no action items, so may I have a motion for adjournment? Is there a second?
Second.
Ready for the question. Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Have a pleasant evening.